These days, viral threats to the human body are certainly abundant. The common cold, influenza, stomach flu, coronavirus, and who knows what next big virus could be around the corner. We can't always stop these threats, but there is scope to bolster our defenses against them. And if the pandemic taught us anything, it was the value of having a robust immune system. Hence our focus today on the elderberry, micro-sized antiviral, antioxidant, and anti-inflammatory warrior. In a journey that takes us from the sandy ruins of ancient Egypt to the fertile farmlands of Denmark, Wisconsin, we're going to find out what the research and everyday stories of health recovery reveal about elderberry's potency. We'll look at how to make elderberry's health effects even stronger, and we'll zoom in on the magic compound within elderberry that delivers its immunoregulatory punch. Welcome to Vital Signs, where we learn how to get healthy from all angles, from the biochemical and nutritional to the things we do that nourish our minds and our souls. I'm Brendan Fallon. The history of the elderberry spans millennia. The ancient Egyptians used it to treat burns, infections, and skin diseases. They believed elderberry had purifying properties. The ancient Egyptians were a health-conscious bunch. It wouldn't surprise me if traces of elderberry showed up in Tutankhamun's tomb, or even hieroglyphs of Jane Fonda-style workouts.
Are you ready to do the workout?
And mummified fashionable gym wear. So could elderberry have really played healing roles in these different cases? The lady with fibromyalgia, the hunter with knee pain, the man in pain after spinal surgery, and the man with respiratory disease. Well, the research, which we'll break down in a moment, suggests elderberry very well is playing a role because each of these cases are linked by a common thread of inflammation. And elderberry and elderflower contain the particularly powerful anti-inflammatory quercetin, which is a flavonoid, basically a plant pigment. Certain flavonoids give flowers petals their different colors. Now, in terms of the First Lady's fibromyalgia, fibromyalgia is not considered an inflammatory condition. However, it has been linked to neuroinflammation. Meanwhile, quercetin is shown to have neuroprotective effects through reducing neuroinflammation. So this is one way that elderberry could ease fibromyalgia. That's one case. For both the man with knee pain and the other with pain following spinal surgery, inflammation may again factor in. Inflammation that is localized to those areas of the body. And to understand why elderberry's quercetin could help in these cases, it helps to understand a little of how inflammation works. Inflammation is the body's natural and needed reaction to injury and infection. However, sometimes the immune system can go haywire. Inflammatory granulocytes can trigger uncontrolled release of cytokines. These are molecules in our cells. They work as messengers for our cells. Cells use them to communicate with other cells. This is an important job of the immune system. It helps fight infection. Cytokine signals trigger different processes in the body. Some trigger antibodies, some trigger inflammation, some reduce inflammation. These cytokines help coordinate our immune response to infections. Things can start to go wrong, though, if we have too many of the type that trigger inflammation and not enough of the type that dampen inflammation. Too much inflammation is dangerous. For one, it can cause respiratory damage, as seen with COVID-19. And this is where quercetin comes in, because quercetin shuts off signals in the body that produce inflammation. And elderberries and elderflower just happen to be a premium source of quercetin. Now, for Scott's neighbor with a respiratory disease, he's almost certainly experiencing inflammation inside his airways, being that he has a diagnosis of COPD, or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. So the quercetin in elderberry and elderflower could be exerting an anti-inflammatory effect here too, just as it may have well done in the case of Scott's wife, Nancy, who was also diagnosed with COPD all those years ago. If the pandemic taught us anything, it was the value of having a robust immune system. And elderberries and elderflower just happen to be a premium source of powerful antioxidant. It wouldn't surprise me if traces of elderberry showed up in Tutankhamun's tomb. Elderberry's real power lies in its bioactive compounds. The quercetin, anthocyanin, not to mention vitamin C and other antioxidants in elderberries all suggest a strong antiviral effect. Let's look at the airplane experiment. Those in the placebo group suffered significantly longer colds and more severe symptoms than those in the elderberry group. Modern research continues to uncover the potential of elderberry to boost immunity, fight infections, and promote overall health. So could elderberry have really played healing roles in these different cases? We're going to find out what the research and everyday stories of health recovery reveal about elderberry's potency. To see that full interview and others on how to optimize health, go to ept.ms/vital signs.